Welcome to Huff Goes to the Movies. My name is Eric Huffman II. Most people call me Huff, and some people know that I love going to the movies. Day Shift is streaming on Netflix now. The film stars Jamie Foxx, Dave Franco, Karla Souza, Meagan Good, and Snoop Dogg. Not a joke. Snoop Dogg is in the film. It's directed by J.J. Perry, and the film is about a vampire hunter who is attempting to get back in the good graces of his former boss so that he can make enough money to keep his family staying in the Los Angeles area. But really, all you needed to sell anyone on the movie is Jamie Foxx and Snoop Dogg are vampire hunters, which on paper seems like it should be just silly enough and just simple enough to work. But Day Shift is yet another example of a Netflix original film that doesn't quite have a well thought out story. And I suppose even worse, it doesn't quite have a strong enough director behind it to really carry it the distance. Day Shift definitely has some exciting action sequences to it. It's got a pretty cool concept, and at times the film really does look like something that could be the next big, maybe not big, but like that next sort of marquee franchise. But despite all that, and despite the star power here, the film doesn't really feel like it's got one unified vision behind it. There is the Jamie Foxx aspect of a man simply trying to provide for his family. There is sort of the more tried and true genre formula to it that includes his time as a vampire hunter and his relationship with Snoop Dogg, the actual villains of the film, who are led by Karla Souza here. And then it's got that sort of awkward buddy comedy that comes into play between Jamie Foxx and Dave Franco. But all of those elements feel like they are in several different movies all throughout the runtime of this film. I think the best way to describe this movie would be tonally inconsistent. There are the bits of vampire hunting that are like, oh, okay, it's this type of movie. And then there are the bits between Jamie Foxx and Dave Franco, and it's like, oh, it's this type of movie. And then, of course, there is like the vampire world building that feels like any and everything you've ever seen before. So yeah, I mean, it feels tired, it feels worn out, it feels cliched, but cliches can be used to great effect. But this is a film in which it's not only cliche, but it just feels like there isn't a strong enough vision leading this narrative. And I think that that's pretty disappointing, considering that Netflix spent $100 million on this movie, and they have they have a strong enough cast behind it. I mean, Jamie Foxx is a leading man, should be, that should be a strong enough foundation for this film. But there are times where, even Academy Award winner Jamie Foxx doesn't really always feel like he knows what movie he's making. He's pretty good in the action scenes, and he's like naturally really funny, but those moments don't feel like the same character. They don't feel like they're in the same movie. And the fact that you can feel that tonal inconsistency all throughout the runtime, it really makes it a bit of a chore to watch. And for a movie that's not even 2 hours long, I do feel like at a certain point I was shocked at how much time had not passed. So yeah, I mean, I have seen some people saying that if you just turn your brain off, that it can be a fun watch, and I'm sure there are plenty of people who really enjoy this. I think based on its Rotten Tomatoes score, it might be one of those things where, it kind of splits people right down the middle, where you have one half of people who seem to really dig it, and another half who are like, been there, done that. And I'm definitely of the latter on that. I think that Netflix does a really good job of finding talent to sort of lead these films. With their model, they're able to entice performers to sign on to these projects. But, a $100 million movie that you're giving to a first-time director, that feels like a misstep. that feels like a mistake. And it's a shame because part of what's hurting Netflix right now is that their original content, you know, when it comes to television series, it seems like it starts off really strong, but it seems like Netflix doesn't want to carry those shows the full distance. It seems like they don't want to make a priority out of developing those series that can run for a really long time. And when it comes to their films, it seems like they want to spend money on really cool concepts, but not really good scripts. And I think that Day Shift is the latest example of that. Now, I didn't quite feel as negative on this film as I did on a previous Netflix film called The Gray Man. But either way, I spotted a lot of the same issues that I saw with The Gray Man, in that, oh, you want to do something that seems like another big movie franchise. Great. You want to cast Oscar-worthy talents to lead these things. Great. But it seems like, other than that, you weren't entirely concerned with making a strong or let alone competent film. So yeah, I mean, Day Shift is streaming now on Netflix, and as I said before, I do think there are a lot of people who are going to really just be able to turn their brains off and be entertained by it. And to those people who have seen it and enjoyed the film, I envy you. I wanted to like it. It just never quite clicked for me. And that's a shame. You know, films like this with a lot of people of color sort of leading the way, it seems like, wow, this should be a home run, but not quite. But that's all that I'll say for Day Shift. The film is streaming on Netflix now. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. If you know people looking for more film-related content on YouTube, please do share this review with them, as well as other reviews I've done on the channel. More reviews are coming soon. My name is Eric Huffman II. Most people call me Huff. Stay sweaty, my friends. I will see you at the movies.